welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since I've teased the smaller tank that I downgraded to from my Innovative Marine 170, but I've been pretty busy getting that tank torn down, moved over to the new tank, selling off the old coral and equipment, along with finishing my condo so I can put it up for sale. But finally the condo is done and on the market, so I have a little free time to make an update video for you guys. So the tank is up and running. It is 100% old tank water that I just siphoned out from this tank into this tank. Just have the return pump going right now, which I think is pretty powerful. I've had to tone it back to 65% and it's still going pretty good. You can see the tank is half drained from putting water in there and rinsing the sand a little bit. The 4 balmies I'm gonna keep. I'm going to probably do 2 at a time in this bin where I'm going to treat it with flatworm exit. I still have these red Planaria, and once I got rid of the wrasses, they kind of came back a lot more. So to try to eradicate them from this tank, my plan is anything in here that's rock, coral, frag plugs, whatever, it's gonna go to 30-minute dip in flatworm exit and go from the dip bucket to here. Say maybe I get 95, 99% of the flatworms out of the tank. I imagine that's not enough to kill everything, but it'll kill back enough to where in a week's time, I'll do an in-tank treatment. Should be hardly any flatworms left in the tank. That'll also kill any that have hatched, any eggs that have hatched since the transfer. And then I'll probably do that every week, at least 3 times. So they're gonna get 4 total treatments, and hopefully that will kill back the flatworms to where I don't see them again. Obviously all of the sand in here is going to go. That's all fresh live sand. After about a week of this tank being set up, I did see like a handful of red flatworms in the new tank. So then I did another treatment and I netted about 15 or 20 different flatworms out of the tank, which is not really that much. After that, I ran 2 more treatments about a week apart. So a total of 4 treatments, including that dip, to kill off any stragglers or newly hatched babies. The 3rd and 4th treatments, I did not see a single flatworm. And that was about 3 months ago. So I can happily say I have gotten rid of all the flatworms in my tank. That's not to say that this treatment was completely harmless on everything else. I had a lot of true blue xenia covering a rock, which was awesome, but it all basically melted, which I'm pretty sure is from the flatworm treatment. And then doing a little research, it looks like flatworm exit might have fenbendazole or some similar chemical in it that is known to be stressful to a lot of the xenia species and some of the soft coral species. The red xenia in my tank and the purple cispitularia, they closed up for a day or 2, but it didn't seem overly affected and they kind of hit the ground running after I did the water changes. But for some reason, the blue xenia mostly died back. I have 1 tiny little stalk left. So hopefully that grows back because it's such a cool coral. This is the introduction to my 38-gallon Fiji Cube Peninsula tank. This is the downgrade from the Innovative Marine 170 I had. It is dominated by LPS and soft corals. So this has been up close to 3 months now, and it's doing really well. There's some coral in here that I did keep. This giant micromusa is still growing like crazy. I chopped up my jelly bean chalice. I'm gonna keep 1 frag of that. And these I'm kind of growing out to sell to locals. Well, most of the leathers from the 25-gallon I had in the window are in here. The red xenia is just going crazy. The neon Sinularia is going crazy. Purple Cespitularia, and the blue Kenya tree, the green Kenya tree, or Capnella, they're all doing well. I kept some of the Euphyllia. These three in the back are old ones. I got some new pieces that I can't wait to see grow out. I got the hologram. This is some orange stem with purple tips that I just got. Looks a little colored down, but it should color up really nice. This one is like green with orange stems. This is Cherry Coral's Ultimate Orange, which it's quite a bit more orange than the other orange ones I have, but it looks like it's the smaller polyp type, where the other orange ones I have are like the fat polyps that grow really slow. And then I have the rainbow hologram. I was told they are different, so I guess I will see. This is the Ulophilia that I had in my old tank, and I couldn't help myself, and I grabbed a blue one as well. You could see it got buried in the sand when I was busy and kind of died on some of the edges, but seems to be recovering well. The Kojiwara Pink Nephthya is finally growing for me. You know, I've had it for a long time and just kind of sat there and did nothing. It's finally growing, so that's pretty sweet. What else? Paucine Sinularia. I had a big colony of this a long time ago, and it was one of my favorites. So I was able to pick that up for free at one of our local meetings here in DC. My classic super neon torch is looking really good in here. Hopefully that will start growing. It hasn't really grown, but the color is as good as it's ever been in here. And it's probably because my phosphate went up to 0.3. Colors are looking great. I run this a little more blue than my SPS tank because I don't think the LPS and the softies need as much white spectrum to really pop. I mean, this is about true to life, so it's not all blues. I do run some white in my spectrum. But yeah, I mean, this tank is packed, a little more packed than I like. But my mindset at this point is this is kind of just like an arc of corals until I can set up a bigger tank in the future. I don't really know how long in the future. Once we sell this, we're gonna rent. If I have a little extra space, I might set up my 10-gallon frag tank as a display for some of the Favia. You know, I can get these off the sand bed and just kind of have them in a frag tank display. It'd be kind of cool to have a low flow kind of look down tank. But yeah, I mean, if I gotta keep it packed like this, that's fine. As far as fish in this tank, I just kept my 3 damsels I had in my big tank and then my old clown. I had the sand sifting goby in here, but it was like covering all of my coral on the bottom. So I sold him to a local reefer. I think it's been about a month and my sand still looks nice and clean. I have a lot of hermits that are always turning it over and some Nacerius snails. I keep my rocks clean with 3 tuxedo urchins. I paid a little extra and got some ORA tank bred ones that were kind of small so they could get in between some stuff. So far, no algae issues. As far as issues in this tank, I don't really have any other than, you know, some of these corals are growing really fast and I have to frag them all the time, and I don't like frag racks in my tank. But I'm just starting to learn to live with them since I don't have a frag tank or a frag sump. As far as equipment, it's pretty low key. I'm running the stock Fiji Cube return. I think I got it dialed down like 25%. I had an algae or a bacteria bloom, so I have a UV filter, heater, Tunze Auto top off. I'm not running any mechanical filtration. The filter chamber is too small for how big it is because using the socks or any filter media, I mean, it would clog within a few minutes and then start to overflow into the other chambers. So I don't really run any mechanical filtration. I'm running a single Nero 3. And then as far as dosing, I have everything down here. I'm doing all for reef. I mean, right now I think I'm dosing 3.2 milliliters a day. So it's almost the minimum of the doser, but it's keeping my alkalinity stable, and I imagine it's gonna slowly ramp up. I just increased it a little bit because I started to notice coralline algae growing, and then my alkalinity started to drop. So doing manual tests, and that's pretty much it. Other equipment, I'm running the 2 XR15 Gen 5 Pros. I think they're running at about 40% peak for a few hours. Both blue channels are turned up all the way. Violet and UV, I think, are about 50% or less. Red and green are off. Warm white I have at 100%, and then the cool white at maybe 15. That produces a nice blue with some white in it. I don't really like the cool whites in these fixtures because they kind of wash everything out. It kind of reminds me of the cyan channels in the old Stratton, so I mainly use the warm whites and the blue, and it does a pretty good job of keeping things nice and colored up without looking like a bottle of Windex. So that is pretty much the overview of this tank. I'm about to move, so I'm gonna tear it down probably in a month or so, but I think I have everything on just 4 rocks and then a couple things on the bottom, so it should be an easy move. I'll probably set it up this exact same way, but yeah, there you go.